Welcome to Big Dell's tips for finals week 2. And what about week 1? Absolute cracking final series. 1 or 2 upsets, more so 1 upset. And I know I got it wrong, which we'll go through. But the first game, Friday night, the Storm, 40 points to 12. A lot was being made here about Tommy Turbo being hard to shut down, but the Melbourne Storm, they knew how to shut him down. But not just that, there's a guy called Ryan Papenhuyzen. Paps, last couple of weeks, he started to find that form again. 2 tries to Papenhuyzen, 6 goals. That's a pretty handy night. But Manly couldn't handle their power through the middle third there. And once again, that's how the Storm get you. They take you out of your comfort zone. So Manly, they got a lot of kids in that team. They're playing with the big boys there. So well done on the Melbourne Storm. They get a week off. And whoever's waiting, whoever's there, they'll be in trouble because I think the Melbourne Storm, they are going to a whole new level. So good win by the Storm there. And what about this game? The Roosters and the Titans. The Titans have done well to get to the top 8. They sort of, they got there by default. There's a couple of teams fighting in around that top 8 side, but they were lucky enough to get to the 8th spot. But I tell you what, they probably should have been going to this weekend. It was just a play at the end there by young Paddy Herbert. Mate, what a great play by the Titans. Never say die attitude, actually, but before that, I suppose, I felt sorry for Ikevalu, because as a winger, you try and take a tough carry, and as he took the tough carry out, the ball come out and straight into the front row's hands from the Titans there, and he couldn't believe his Jared Wallace just gone, how good's this? Couple of metres out, he scores the meat pie. We've got a drawn game. How good? Not just that. And then at the end there, Sam Walker comes on. He goes for one, misses it, gets charged down, but then again, young Sam Walker, he no missed twice. Bang. We thought it was game over. Red Rover. Not to be. The Titans going down the left side, coming back left to right, into the corner. All Paddy Herbert had to do was let it go. He double pumps, and then he throws out the sideline, and Corey Thompson goes, no. That was their season over. Really gallant effort there from the Titans. They're down 25-24. They're gone. Roosters progress to this weekend. What about Saturday night football? The Panthers versus the Bunnies. A lot of people thought, yeah, this is Panthers. It's cakewalk. No Latrell Mitchell. No worries. The Panthers have had their had the wood on the Bunnies the last couple of times, but the Panthers, they got found out here. They didn't have Leota and they didn't have Dylan Edwards. So 2 of their strike players were out, but the Bunnies just went, we don't care what you got. I know there's no Latrell Mitchell there. I thought they struggled to beat the heavyweights of the competition. When you play the Melbourne Storm, when you play teams like the Panthers, you need the big gun players. And that's where Latrell Mitchell comes in. There's a young kid called Blake Taaffe. His first final match, he was outstanding. Scored a try, saved tries, caught bombs. I think he made one mistake for the game. He dropped the first bomb, and I just thought, I was doing the commentary for Triple M, and I thought, mate, as a youngster, you don't want to drop the first bomb because you'll be getting them all night. But well done to Blake Taaffe. Everything he did, he had energy. Well played. The Panthers, they tried to go with him, but they couldn't. So Adam Reynolds kicking goals left, right, and centre. And that man there, Taaffe, was outstanding. So well done to the Bunnies. And I've got to say, special mention, Cody Walker. I reckon this has been his best season to date. Scores tries, he's got his hand on everything. So well done to Cody Walker. 16-10 to the Bunnies. And they get a weekend off. So, and we go to the Sunday match, the Parramatta Eels versus the Knights. Well, we all knew that the Knights here, they were a big chance because, you know, they got Carlin Ponga at the back. You got Saifidi brothers. They rested a few players the week before against the Broncos. But Parramatta Eels, they rested most of their side the weekend before. So their big guns came ready to play today. And how good was it? Fergo scored 2 tries. He was a handful out there. And then Mitchell Moses. The try he scores at the end to seal the game, that's why you pay Mitch Moses the big bucks. So he was pumped up. And as he shows and he goes through, you can just see the celebration. There's a bit of celebration. There's a bit of relief because there's a lot of pressure on Mitch Moses to get the Eels through this final series. So well done to the Parramatta Eels. The Knights, their season's gone. 28-20, Parramatta Eels of the Knights. Well, this is week 2 of the final series, and the NRL finals have been very exciting. And what about the Seagulls? A lot of people have said the Seagulls are the team that can come from sort of nowhere to win the competition. Well, last week, they got what's handed to them because they didn't have the firepower to go with Melbourne Storm. So this week, they're a big chance against the Roosters, obviously. The Roosters, they've had some injuries. Young Sam Verrills, he's got to face the judiciary, so they could miss him. So there's their starting hooker gone. So they're going to be pushing it real hard to beat the Seagulls. But when we look at the back, Tommy Trbojevic, I've seen a lot of players have really good seasons. I've seen Billy Slater, Darren Lockyer, Thurston, Cam Smith. But I've got to say, Tommy Trbojevic, I think he missed first 4 or 5 games with injury. When he was having that sprinting race outside a bar at the start of the year at the Stain. We've all been there, and it's a very good bar. And then, you got him taking on someone like James Tedesco. For the last 5 or 6 years, James Tedesco has been the standard of all fullbacks. The way that Teddy plays is so good because he doesn't just stay in the middle third. He travels right, travels left, and his energy and his physicality, the way that he plays, is great for the Roosters. But you look at Tommy Turbo. Tommy, I think he's about 6'4", 6'5". He's just a giant. And when Tommy Turbo plays footy, he just gives you confidence. We've seen how much better Manly are when he plays at his best. But last week, Tommy got nullified. Very good game plan by the Melbourne Storm. What Melbourne Storm are so good at doing, minimising what someone like Tommy Turbo does. So can the Roosters repeat that? I'm not sure if they can. Melbourne have got the defence. Obviously, they've got the structure, but they've also got the trust. I don't think this Roosters side trusts themselves enough. And I think Tommy, we all got egos, and I think last week his ego took a little hit. I got no doubt he's going to be the Dally M Player of the Year. But last week, Tommy got nullified by a brilliant Storm defence. And that was well done to Craig Bellamy, the Master Coach, who'll probably be Dally M Coach of the Year. So for me, the big matchups here are their fullbacks. Tedesco versus Trbojevic. Trbojevic has been so good. But Teddy was getting interviewed today and talked about what Tommy Turbo brings to a side and that. But isn't it funny how Tommy Turbo is probably the best fullback in the game at the moment, but for New South Wales, he's got to play in the centres because Tedesco is the fullback. So it's up to Teddy now. It's his right to reply, and Teddy's playing some wonderful football. They're both so good at their try assists. They're both good at individually taking their team forward, but also they do the 1%ers. Whether it's diving on the ball, whether it's making extra tackles, whether it's getting their team up. So if you have a look at those fullbacks, that's where it's going to start. Then you go down there. Daniel Tupou, he's had a wonderful season. Scored a lot of good tries. He's up against young Jason Saab. Saab has had a really good season. It's his breakout season because last year people are going, Jason Saab, I don't know if he's got it. Well, let me tell you, Jason Saab's got it. He scored 16 to 18 tries this year. Daniel Tupou can score tries, can save tries. These guys, they're both giants. They're both about 6'6", 6'7". They're both very skillful in the air, but also they're both good at carrying that first ball. I think the thing about finals football is you want your wingers to come in and take that tough carry. They both take the tough carry. So, we move to the centres there. Parker and Morris, that'll be a good matchup. Morgan Harper and Adam Kieran, they're two unsung heroes of their team. Kieran's been great because Kieran's not usually a centre. He usually plays hooker, he usually plays in the halves, but because of the injuries to the Roosters, he's had to fill in there and he's done a wonderful job and can kick goals, this young bloke. So well done to him. And I've got to say this, Ruben Garrick, he's had a season and a half. I've watched this young kid come through the system at the Dragons, and the Dragons didn't have enough room for him. They had a couple of handy wingers down there, but he's moved on and he's had a record-breaking season, scored plenty of tries, kicked plenty of goals. He's doing a really good job, but he's going against Ikevala, who knows how to score a try. But the problem with Ikevala sometimes is he's got a mistake or two on him. So the Fijian-born winger, he's a very good player, but he has got a mistake in him. And sometimes when he defends too tight. So, sometimes when you're an opposition player, you just go, mate, Ikavala's coming in, you throw that cutout pass. So he's got to watch out for that. And if the exponent of that, guys like Cherry Evans and guys like Drew Hutchison and that, they're the guys who look out wide, and if the wingers are coming in, they'll go, yep, kick or yep, pass. So what I like here, the halves, it's going to be an interesting battle. Kieran Foran up against Lachlan Lamb. Yes, the Papua New Guinean man, Lachlan Lamb. It's a big move here by the coach, Trent Robinson, because over the last couple of weeks, he's moved Sam Walker back to the bench, and he's put Lachlan Lamb there. Because I think Lockie's been there for a couple more years, and he thinks his utility value, toughen up the middle, and don't pick on Sam Walker, because Sam Walker, it's his first season. There's going to be a lot of traffic run at him when he comes on, but I think that's the right call. So Lachlan Lamb, Drew Hutchison have done a really good job so far, up against the two old-timers. That's right, Kieran Foran and DCE. They got their hands full this weekend with those two, because once those two guys get their hands on the ball, they get the team going forward, And DCE, he started to play some really good football in the back end of the season. We're all talking about Tommy Turbo, but DCE is your man. He's the man that's got to get him over the line. He's got to get in the field position, and the kicking game's going to be on him. So I'm looking forward to that. But Drew Hutchison, he's been an unsung hero on this Roosters side. I know we talk about these young guys, Ikavalo and that, and Tedesco's obviously playing some good football. But Drew Hutchison, for me, he's been a guy who's, I suppose, he's had a few clubs now. I think he went over to the Super League, he's come back, and he's playing his best football because there's a trust at the Roosters at the moment, and Trent Robinson gives him that. So, mate, that's two very solid back lines. My tip here, I reckon, in the back line, I think the Eagles have certainly got the edge. I know the Roosters have got a good back line, but I just think, for me, the Seagulls are better balanced, and with the experience of Foreign and DCE, they'll get their forward packs around. Well, this is where finals are won and lost. You know, I always love talking about the backs because, you know, to be honest, the backs, they got the easy job, but this is where it's won and lost. We call them the piggies. That's what we used to call them when I played, the piggies, because all the tough stuff is done through the middle, in the middle third. You have your one big alpha male at the top. And for me, that's Jared Hargraves. He's had so many final series. I think he's won 3 or 4 premierships. He's been outstanding, Jared Hargraves. Wonderful player that plays right on the edge. Some people say he's a dirty player. I say he's a player that you need in your team if you're going to win grand finals. So, you know, he's going to lead from the front. So he's going to take on the Kiwi man, Marty Tapau. Marty Tapau, he hasn't been at his best this season. Obviously, the club was looking to move him on and he's looking for other options. That's never a good thing. But this is Marty Tapau's chance, is to stand up and show the club what he's got. There's a lot of good young lions in this team, but he's the biggest lion of them all. So he needs to stand up. The two Kiwis have played together before, Joey Hargraves and Marty Tapau. They're going to come head to head. It's the two big alpha males coming head to head, and they'll set that standard. Because you've got so many good young players in this team. You know, you've got Verrills. Look, to be honest, he could be missing because of suspension. But Lachlan Croker, who's not a number 9, he'll do a job for you there. But once again, because of the way they play and the ball players that they have with DCE, Kieran Foran, Schuster in the back row, and also Jake Trbojevic, they don't need a specific number 9 to do the job there. So in their back row, this is where I think Manly have got the wood on the Roosters here. If you look at Ola Katauhau, mate, he's such a good young player. He's an absolute weapon. You know, he just does his job. He's aggressive, got really good footwork, but he's just tough. He plays tough. He gets his body right in there. Last week he got found out a little bit there because it's a different energy and a different level finals football. That's what people say. Oh, mate, do you think so and so goes good in finals football? You don't know till you get there. And that's what these young Manly players, someone found out last week, that Melbourne Storm, they're seasoned veterans. They know what to do. So they'll be better for the run now. But, mate, that back row, Ola Katauhau, he comes up against Angus Crichton, you know, Tupanua, now Victor Radley. Mate, have a look at that. You know, Schuster and Trbojevic will do a good job. But for me, I think the two most important people here is Jake Trbojevic and Victor Radley. Because what they do is they set the standard for your defence. So the speed off the line, your one-on-ones, obviously they're both good at stripping the ball. And Jake, I think, is very disciplined. Victor Radley, he plays on the edge. So when you play on the edge, Victor's got the nickname Victor the Inflictor for a reason, okay? Because he likes to cause pain. But if he gets that hitting wrong, that could cost him 10 minutes, or obviously cost him a sin bin, or cost him, you don't want to be spending a week or two on the sidelines now, because he has spent a few weeks out when he hasn't got his tackle technique right. I look at their bench. It's a very good bench there. There's no doubt it's a good bench by Manly, and it's a good bench by the Roosters there. And it depends how they use that bench. So Dylan Walker, he's a very good player. You can bring him on and play in the centres, play him in the back row. He'll bring you energy. He'll bring you aggression. And you've got to be aggressive against the Roosters. If you're not aggressive against the Roosters, you're going to be in for a long night. Sam Walker, he'll do a good job. I'm not sure how they're going to use him. Trent Robinson, he might wait 20, 30 minutes to bring him on after softening up period. He might bring him on with 10 minutes to go like he did last week. You just don't know. With Sam Walker, you know, Manly is such a big side. You're trying to protect him, but you know it's all or nothing. Once Sam Walker's out there, there's no bringing him back off. So I'm sure that he'll get that right, Trent Robinson. He's a very good coach. And obviously the bench players, Lawton will do a good job. Kepi's good. Paseka. Paseka's a man mountain. Paseka is that guy, Adam Fanua Blake, when he moved on, they had no problems with him going because they knew that he could do a job there. So Big Paseka, he's got to do a job here. He's got to take on a lot of these Roosters forwards because he's the biggest player in the field, believe it or not. He's the biggest forward in the field. He's got great energy. It's his first real sort of season in and around that first grade. I know he's been around here for a couple of years, but this year people started to take notice of him. Tough carries. He's really aggressive. He hurts people when he hits them. But for me, you got to watch the utility backs of the Roosters here. You know, the two Butchers, the Baker, mate. They bring such good energy here. So it's going to be a tough outing. But I can't wait for this. This is going to be an absolute cracking game. It could be anyone's game here, but Manly Seagulls, they could go out the back door in straight sets here. Well, you know, I don't like to take credit for a lot of these things that I do. Obviously, you can get them off the internet, but, you know, I go straight to the top, the man of the man. The man's man, Dave Middleton. So Dave Middleton was good enough to send me some stats. So Manly versus Sydney Roosters. So if you're a punter out there, have a look at these stats. Seagull, Tom Trbojevic requires 1 try to break the premiership record for most tries in a season by a fullback. It's pretty good considering we've had, Billy Slater, Brett Stewart, Darren Lockyer. Mate, we've had some great fullbacks in our time. Okay, the Roosters have won 4 of their past 5 games against the Seagulls. That's handy to know. The Seagulls have lost their past 6 of their past 7 finals matches. So Seagulls haven't gone well, as you can see. The Roosters' giant winger, Daniel Tupou, has scored 8 tries in the past 8 games against the Seagulls. That's a handy stat. And the Seagulls prop Marty Tapau will make his 200th NRL appearance. There's some good stats there. Thank you to Dave Middleton. So that leads me to this next bit. So Manly Seagulls are $1.30, Sydney Roosters $3.50. Well, after looking at those stats and weighing up what I know about finals football, I think Manly Seagulls are going to bounce back in a big way. I'm taking Manly Seagulls minus the 10.5 here. I think they'll bounce back in a big way, and I think they'll put the wipers through the Roosters. The Roosters have been so gallant all year, but I think tonight they're going to get their just desserts. Not that they deserve to get beaten like this, but I think Manly, they're going to bounce back from last week. The bounce back factor is a big thing. So Tommy Turbo, beware of the wounded Tommy Trbojevic. Manly for me. Go the Seagulls. Well, what a clash we have here. The Panthers versus the Eels. The Battle of the West. Mate, everyone's licking their lips at this because this is interesting here because for a long time, you know, everyone's going on the Panthers, you know, they're the side to beat, obviously along with Melbourne. But the Eels, they would love nothing more than to knock the Panthers out here in straight sets. You knock these guys out in straight sets, mate, that's a disappointing season for the Panthers because they've been quite good this year. I know they've had some injuries. They just haven't got their timing going, but they got the players back at the right time. Tavita Pangai Jr. came on board. Everyone's saying, mate, they're going to be hard to beat. But the good thing for the Panthers this week is they got 2 big ins. Last week, Moses Leota, obviously their front row who's been outstanding this season, carrying the ball so tough, real aggressive, and like a big rhino. He's just been so good. There was talk actually earlier in the year that they were going to pick him in the New South Wales Origin team, but then because of the ruling, the eligibility one, which saw Mulatalo ruled out, that's what went against him as well. So Freddie couldn't pick him in the New South Wales team. So he's been playing that good. So to be able to come into the mix to play Origin, but then obviously to do a bit of homework and say, look, we can't pick him because, you know, I think he came in after he was 13 or something like that. So Leota, mate, well done to him. He's had a really good season. But Dylan Edwards, he's that guy that's very underrated. We know last week what Stephen Crichton did at the back. But what Dylan Edwards does for you at the back, okay, he carries the ball at least 20 times. He's got great energy. He's not the quickest fullback, but he gets there. People have said, oh, look, you know, his skill set isn't that good. But what he does for the Panthers, he complements that back line. It's a really good back line, and we know why it's a good back line. But his man that he's gone up against is Clinton Gutherson. These 2 guys at the back, they're a bit of a gauge for their side because they're both so fit. And when you're so fit, you've got to play with energy. Especially in the NRL, this final series, when all the forwards are tired, you know, they made 20 to 30 tackles, and all of a sudden Gutherson pops up here and pops up there on the second phase play. It makes it so much better for you as, you know, in the team. When you're seeing Gutho over there and Gutho's over there, everyone's going, mate, our skipper's leading the way here. We've got to go with him. But no, some very good fullbacks there. Can score tries, can save tries. Both really good energy, these guys. I'm not sure. I think the Eels have got the edge there, just in that fullback. And then I look at some of the young blokes on the wing. So The utility value of Stephen Crichton now, he goes back to the wing. He's a very good player, we know that, so he'll go back to the wing there, Stephen Crichton. He'll do a good job. We know what Crichton does. Crichton can play anywhere in the backs and do a job. He's great in the air. He plays with really good energy, but also he's so skillful. He offers you the X factor. And that's why I think teams have trouble with the Panthers the backs. Because it doesn't matter what they do. They can kick a ball from 50 metres out and chip, and then someone will gather, and sure enough, Crichton will pop up. But he's so skillful. I think he was a very good basketball player too. So when you have a look on their social media, the boys are always playing basketball there at the Panthers. But he's up against another young star too, Hayes Dunster. Hayes Dunster, he's a bit of a throwback to the real old school sort of aggressive sort of backs. He's got a little bit of Jared Hayne in him the way that he plays, you know. He's very strong through the hips. We know he's got good power, but also he just likes to score tries, Hayes Dunster. We saw that last week. So, and then we go to the centres there. There's some good centres. The centre battle's going to be good. Momorowski, we know what he can do last week. Last week he showed when the ball was going out, you never say die with the attitude there now. The ball was going out. The ball's still alive. He dives from inside the field. He bats it back, and obviously that helps Crichton score a try. That's what players like Momorowski can do. He's very skillful. He's been out a couple of clubs. He's played finals football before. So he's up against Penasini, who's a young star. We talked about young Will Penasini before. Penasini just brings a young energy to the final series, and that's what Parramatta are relying on. He was really good last week, and I think he'll bring the same. Obviously, Matt Burton, good player, Matt Burton. We've seen Matt Burton, what he can do. He's such a tough, competitive player, and we know his best position is in the halves. Matt Burton, I think, has been one of their best all season. So he's up against Wonga Blake. To be honest, Wonga Blake hasn't played that well. So I'm looking at these matchups here, and at the moment, you can just see why the Panthers have got the upper hand at the moment. They're bringing it down to their halves. Now, this is going to be the important part. This is what I'm looking at right here, the 6 and the 7. I know we talk about the forwards, we talk about the sort of backs, but the halves where it's won and lost. I reckon these four players, with their kicking game, what they play off the cuff, they play what they see, and eyes up football. So Dylan Brown's playing his best football at the moment, I think, or close to it, because Mitchell Moses is allowing him to do what he wants to do. And that's really good for Mitchell Moses as well, because Mitchell just worries about himself now. So Mitchell is just, doing what he's doing last week. He's enjoying his football, and I think we all saw it. With not long to go, Mitchell Moses has got the ball, and we've seen Mitchell before not take the line on, but Mitchell takes the line on, dummies, and then he just goes. And the acceleration from 0 to 100, and to leave Carlin Ponga standing there in Rockhampton, that's some skill, and that's what finals football is about, and that's why you pay Mitch Moses the big bucks. So Mitch has got to be on again this week, because I tell you why, he's up against Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary. Two sensationally young halves. Mate, these young halves, they're wonderful for New South Wales in Origin. Luai really come of age this year. I know the last couple of years he's been played really good football, but I think Luai, when he's played in Origin, he didn't take a backward step. I think I saw him at one stage giving it to Kafusi, who's been a veteran in the NRL for a while now. And I think when a young player does that, you take it two ways. Like, these young blokes are a bit cocky, or these young blokes know they can play. Whatever way you slice and dice it, I love it. I think it's great for the game. It's great theatre, and it's what we won the final series. Oh, I tell you what, if you love forward battles, big, strong, tough men, this is the game that you want. These two forward packs just do not like each other. Have a look at this. Moses Leota against Regan Campbell-Gillard. Mate, if that's not going to make your mouth water, I don't know what it is. Even I'm sitting here going, I can't wait to watch these two play, because they leave nothing in the tank. Obviously, Regan Campbell-Gillard, that Fijian-born, and big Moses Leota, the Polynesian boy there, he doesn't care. He will leave you in his tracks. He's aggressive. He's aggressive through that middle third. He sets the standard. I know we all talk about James Fisher-Harris, but Moses Leota, he complements James Fisher-Harris so well. So I look at that matchup there, and they're going to set the standard there, because you got those two who obviously play through that middle third, but obviously both skillful too. Regan Campbell-Gillard has showed he's got some silky skills in second phase. Leota doesn't mind passing it, and that's what these guys have got. They can play tough and direct, but also they can throw that ball at the back. They can throw a face ball or whatever it needs to be, just to take pressure off their teammates. And if you look at the hookers, Api Coruscant versus Ray Stone. Well, Ray Stone, he's playing some good football, but he's not a natural number 9. So this could be the problem for Parramatta. When push comes to shove, you need that quick ball. You're looking at that, in your peripherals. Mate, Api Coruscant, he's got the hand here. He's got the hand up here. He's obviously played Origin this year. Ray Stone has been very consistent, but what Appy's got, you can't coach what Appy Coruscant's got. He's such a smart footballer. He's already won. He won a premiership with the Bunnies back in 2014, I think. Isaac. Bully Luke, he was suspended, and then Appy Coruscant came in, so he deserved that off the bench. Well done to him. But I've looked at the front rowers here. James Fisher-Harris, it doesn't get any easier. This is going to be carnage. Mackay is in for a treat this week. Mackay's got two finals games. That's unheard of. So well done to my home ground and home team of Mackay there. James Fisher-Harris against Junior Paulo. I want you to think, James Fisher-Harris leaves nothing in the tank. He's a real good forward leader, but also, mate, he's a big alpha male. He's a bit like Joey Hargraves. Okay, I'll set the standard. I will go all in here. So if I'm going all in, I want you to follow me, guys. And that's what it's going to be. So he'll take on Junior Paulo there. The boys will be patting themselves on the back going, okay, I got this. I'll set the standard. For me, I still think here, Penrith have got an advantage here. But then you look at the back rowers. Okay, this guy here is going to be on $1 million a year in the next couple of years. Kick-out. Big kick-out. And you know why Big Billy kick-out? Because the way that he plays, he's got agility and footwork like any outside back. He's got great skills in the halves. And he plays like a halfback 5'8". That's that Fijian, that flamboyant style of football. And then you got him, and then he can be aggressive. He can come out and put a couple of shots on. I had the opportunity to meet him last year. I can't believe how big he is. He's like 6'4", 6'5", 114 kilos or something. And it's just muscle. So good luck to anyone who's trying to stop kick-out. He's like a freight train there. So I know the people back there in Fiji, they'll be loving this kick-out. So I can't wait for this. And have a look at this back row. This back row is going to be outstanding. Kurt Capewell, Isaiah Yeo. How good's that? So that rounds out a pretty good Penrith forward pack. Kurt Capewell, he's such a handy player. He's an Origin player. He knows what to do there. But also Isaiah Yeo, he's had the season of his life. I think he'll be up for Dally M, number 13 of the year. I think he's been unbelievable there at lock. So what a very good player. But Nathan Brown and Okore and Sean Lane, they've got their work cut out for them. Where Parramatta have got to beat Penrith, they've got to be aggressive through their middle third. You cannot let them get away with what they got away with most of the season. That's where they got beaten last week by South, okay? South beat them through the middle. They owned them through the middle, and if you own them through the middle, you're a long way going. I don't know if the Eels can keep up that pressure or they're just guiding themselves there, but you've got to leave nothing in the tank this game, because even their benches are pretty evenly matched. I look at the Penrith bench. Mitch Kenny, he's been wonderful as a hooker there coming on. Scott Sorensen, Tavita Pangai Jr., he's their X factor off the bench, okay? He's found a bit of discipline since he's gone to the Panthers there. And Liam Martin there. Liam Martin, he's had an outstanding season, played Origin, but then you look at the Parramatta. This is where they drop it off a little bit. Will Smith has been a very good player. Isaiah Papali'i, he's been a very good player. All-round skills, he's been an absolute beast. He came from the Warriors, he's had a really good season. But Bryce Cartwright and Ryan Madison, similar sort of players. So for me, I think that Panthers have definitely got the edge there. Look, I can't see the Eels beating the Panthers. I'll have a look at some stats here, but I'm telling you now, I look at that Panthers side, they got beaten last week. They won't be happy about that. And the Eels could be in for a long night here, but I'm going to look at the stats and I'll let you know what I think and where you should be putting your money. Oh, and this is my favourite. This is the betting. The Panthers here, they're $1.20. Parramatta Eels $4.50. But let me give you this first. My man Dave Middleton. I love Middo. He's looked after me all season, so I'm not going to take credit for this. But this is the stats, the Panthers, and obviously the Eels for the final series. The Panthers have won 6 of their past 8 games against the Eels. The Eels have not won back-to-back finals games since 2009. Let me take you back. 2009, that's when they beat the Dragons, and that was my last final series. That's how long ago it was. Panthers centre Stephen Crichton has scored 3 tries in the past 4 final appearances. Eels winger Blake Ferguson has scored 12 tries in 14 finals games, and the Panthers have lost both finals games against the Eels in 1985 and 2000. So I take that all in, and I have a look at that. The Panthers obviously $1.20, as I said before. The Parramatta Eels $4.50. Where I'm looking, I just think the Panthers Mate, they're going to flex their muscle here. They're going to be so wounded and they want to smash the Eels. I reckon they're going to get a good win here. Minus the 12.5. Take the Panthers. They're going to put the cleaners through the Eels. The Eels, bye-bye. And see you later. And the Panthers on the next week. Go the Panthers. Wow. Well, that's Big Dell's tips for the finals for week 2. I'll see you same place, same time next week.